There's something deeply revealing about this old Chuck Schumer fiasco. The Democrats are eating their own, and frankly, it's poetic justice. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, spent weeks holding the federal government hostage, dragging millions of Americans through hardship just to justify the radical wing of his party. And for what? To prove he's still relevant. This shutdown wasn't about principles or policy, it was about Schumer's political survival. Plain and simple. He's terrified of being primaried from the left, terrified of losing his grip on power to the new generation of radicals in his party. There are already whispers that AOC is high in his seat, and that fear drove every reckless move that he made during this shutdown. Now, the very same progressives he tried to appease are turning on him. Democrats are furious, not because he hurt Americans, not because millions suffered during the shutdown, but because his gamble failed. This is what happens when a political party abandons leadership and turns into an echo chamber of Twitter activists.
I have to wonder what the Democrats are so mad about. They caused the problem in the first place. But the Democrats inside the party, they are blasting these 8 Senate moderates who voted to reopen the government. They did so without getting anything particular or specific in return, and that is bad news for leader Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, they are circling in the House. Schumer's bid to extend health care subsidies fallen flat on his face, and a growing number of Democrats are calling for his ouster. President Trump, sitting down with Laura last night on the Ingram angle, addressed it this way.
So knives are out, it looks like, for Chuck Schumer. Ro Khanna is already calling for him to be replaced. What message do you have for Schumer tonight?
Well, he just went too far. He thought he could break the Republicans, and the Republicans broke him. We have good policy, they have bad policy. And there's something, I don't know if it's Trump derangement or they're just crazed. They're like crazed lunatics, but we have just great policy.
So Aisha Hasni leading our coverage from the Hill. Let's begin there. Aisha, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you both. So the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, has called the House to return. This sets us up for a Wednesday vote to finally reopen the government. But as you know, the margins are extremely slim right now in the House Republican majority. There are always going to be conservatives who don't like voting for a CR. In fact, House Speaker Mike Johnson has historically been known to vote against a CR. So we might see some folks who put up a fight over that. But this time, President Trump backs this deal, and the House Freedom Caucus is also playing ball. There is hope that the conference is on board, minus maybe a Thomas Massie. The Speaker can only lose 2 of his own members if all Democrats vote no. And right now, you guys, the Democrats are whipping a no vote. Do expect, though, a few moderates on their side to support this deal as well. The real drama isn't the vote, it's the Democratic divide. Last night, the same 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent that helped Republicans break the filibuster Sunday helped them pass the funding bill. Several Democrats calling for Chuck Schumer to step down now after weeks of shutdown pain. They got really no firm guarantees on the Obamacare subsidy situation. They'll get a vote on the extension in December, but Speaker Johnson will not commit to giving it a vote if it actually gets through the Senate.
So you're not committing to bringing up a bill that deals with the Obamacare subsidies before they expire?
I'm not committing to it or not committing to it. What I'm saying is that we do a deliberative process. That's the way this always works, and we have to have time to do that, and we will in a bipartisan fashion.
Okay, so we'll see if it affects negotiations there. Listen to this. Axios is reporting that Chuck Schumer asked those moderates to hold out until November 1st when open enrollment began before reopening the government. So their reporting is suggesting that these moderates really wanted to reopen the government. They were very queasy about all of this, but they basically deferred to Schumer, and that is why it has lasted this long, until they couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, you got to wonder if their hand was forced in the very beginning. Aisha, nice to see you on the Hill. We'll watch it by the hour.
Mary Catherine Ham joins us now, Fox News contributor. Watch this from some Democrats demanding that Schumer step down. This is Tlaib saying that he has failed to meet this moment and is out of touch with the American people. Seth Moulton, he's of course running for higher office. Tonight is another example of why we need new leadership. Mike Levin, Senate Democrats would be wise to move on from his leadership, and Ro Khanna saying Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. So it looks like this gamble for him to try to look tough and forcing this shutdown has led instead to this intra-party fight amongst the Democrats, in which it might have been the straw that broke the camel's back that could lead to him no longer being in leadership.
Yeah, they put themselves in this position. He put himself in this position. I've seen a lot of dumb shutdowns that achieved nothing, but this was a very dumb shutdown. that achieved nothing. And the problem for Democrats, of course, is that there really are people hurting, and a lot of those people are their own constituents. And so it's been sort of astonishing to see the party that loves government rejoice that the government was shut down long enough to help them boost numbers in 2 state elections, hurting people in the process, as they always say when there's a shutdown from the other side. And then when a couple of people get sense and say, wait, but we like the government to operate, let's open it again, they get mad at those guys. And they've demoralized their base in the process. This is because the ask that they were doing, which was for the extended Obamacare subsidies, which, by the way, have no income cap, go to rich people, go to a lot of fraud, were meant to be temporary and in an emergency situation during COVID. When they asked for those, that wasn't really the ask. The reason they were doing the shutdown was because everyone was ticked off and they wanted to show they were fighting. But they were never going to get anything because Johnson, Trump, Thune all turned out to be immune to the media pressure over this, which was not put on Democrats as it should have been and was put on Republicans. And here we are. They've taken their big electoral win and turned it to more demoralization for their base. Congratulations.
Okay, so
quite jiu-jitsu there.
Yeah, I was talking about the buzzard circling, at least on the House side they are. Here is David Axelrod last night suggesting that Schumer's days are numbered. Listen carefully.
Do you think Schumer could be in trouble here with the left flank of the party?
I think he's been in trouble. I think he is in bigger trouble now. I think Senator Schumer's been there since 1982. My guess is that he won't be leader of the party in 2027 after this election, unless something really surprising happens.
You're welcome to wax on that, Mary Catherine. Let me read this from Axios. Democrats shut down civil war spills out in private call. More than a dozen House Democrats spoke on the call, with the vast majority slamming the deal, a volume that reflects deep outrage between the 2 chambers. I will point out 2 things. Not a single Democrat senator is talking like they are on the House side. Not yet, anyway. And you wonder whether or not Republicans have an opportunity here to reshape health care. Those conversations are happening. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do think they need to be prepared for that conversation and to be ready to pitch incremental changes to healthcare, like health savings accounts improvements that allow people to have more control over this and that would heal Obamacare to some degree. So they need to be ready for that. I also think the opportunity lies in the fact that, yes, the left is looking for new voices. They probably will oust a Schumer character in the future, and many others, by the way. They're going to run in these primaries all over the U.S. There's a very slim margin of turnable seats for the House, and if they run really far left, exciting candidates who want the government shut down forever in those places, a lot of normal voters who are not committed to either side and independents are going to perhaps pull the lever for Republicans when that is the option that they're given. So I think they're putting themselves in some danger. And we've seen this play out with the Republican Party during the Tea Party era as well. Some of those primary challenges worked out great, like Marco Rubio. Others did not, like Christine O'Donnell in Delaware. So these things can go badly for the party when there's excitement there, but it's geared toward the farthest left flank of that party.
Well, it's fascinating to watch, and again, it was self-imposed, so we will watch it. We'll stay in touch with you, Mary Catherine. Thank you.
Thanks, MK.
What you just heard confirms everything we've been saying. This wasn't governance. This was theater. The Democrats caused the shutdown, watched Americans suffer, and now they're furious it didn't pay off politically. Chuck Schumer gambled with people's livelihoods for his own self-preservation. He didn't just miscalculate. He showed us exactly what's wrong with the Democratic Party today. Schumer's problem is that he tried to please 2 masters. On one hand, he wanted to appear tough to the far left, to people like AOC and the activist base. On the other, he wanted to maintain control of a centrist party that's been sliding further into socialism. He failed both. The radicals see him as weak and the moderates see him as reckless. That's why Democrats themselves, from Ro Khanna to Seth Moulton, are calling for his ouster. He put his own position above the welfare of the state. He put his career above Americans who couldn't afford groceries during the shutdown. He was willing to let the economy choke, federal employees go unpaid, and ordinary citizens bear the cost of his political games. All because he didn't want to lose favor with the far left mob that dominates his party. Let's be clear, this wasn't about healthcare subsidies or economic policy. Those were excuses. Even the pundits admit it. The so-called ask was a smokescreen. The real motive was to perform outrage, to look like they were fighting the good fight against Republicans. But they had no end game. no negotiation strategy, and no moral compass guiding them. And what did it cost them? Everything. They alienated their own moderates. They fractured their party. They demoralized their base. And now, the Party of Compassion looks like a disorganized pack of career politicians fighting for their own survival. So, the irony is that the Democrats claim to be the party that cares about people, yet they just presided over one of the most damaging self-inflicted shutdowns in modern history. They celebrated while federal workers missed paychecks and small businesses lost contracts. They told themselves it was worth it because, in their twisted logic, paying for the people is leverage for their politics. And now, Schumer is paying the price. The wolves they fed are turning on him. The AOC faction wants blood, and it's only a matter of time before they come for his seat. Schumer thought appeasing the radicals would buy him time. Instead, it bought him enemies on both sides. So, at the end of the day, this entire fiasco shows us something bigger. The Democratic Party has no leadership, no unity, and no vision beyond hatred for Donald Trump and fear of their own activists. Schumer's fall isn't just personal. It's symbolic of a party tearing itself apart from the inside.